Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I figured since it's, the end of July now, that I would do a college experience type video. Now, I am not currently in college, although I was a couple years ago. I graduated, when did I graduate? 2019, May 2019. So I've been out in the working world for a couple years now, and I figured I'd talk a little bit about what it was like going to school for me versus, and like a couple things that I've learned, like having a real job now. I have this little booklet where I write all my notes because otherwise I have no idea what I'm talking about. If I don't write things out, my brain goes blank and it's just like the Wii Sports music playing in the background. That's me 90% of the day. Anyways, college experience. Most people go to school for 4 years and they get a bachelor's in science or arts or whatever. I went to school for 2 years and I got an associate's. Well, associates in applied science. Basically, I'm making this video for all the people out there that don't know if school, at least 4 years worth of school, is necessarily the right thing for them. I'm a really hands-on person. I like trying things out, actually turning wrenches and doing whatever myself by hand. Some people are more book smart. I'm not an idiot, but not the smartest person in the world, you know. So I figured an applied science would be better than just straight up science. So for some backstory, in high school I took a lot of AP classes. I took CAD classes, Principles of Engineering, Computer Integrated Manufacturing. Not my greatest. Coding is not for me. And then I think senior year was project development. You basically come up with an idea and try it. You don't necessarily have to patent it, but that's kind of the idea. I was already on a technical path. Did I have other interests? Yeah, of course. I mean, I could have gone to school for I don't know, doing hair or baking or something like that. I like baking quite a lot. I don't actually cook very much these days because I'm lazy, but for a while I did want to be a pastry chef. That never panned out. End of senior year in high school rolls around and I'm like, shoot, I haven't applied to any colleges. I have no idea what I want to do. I was so incredibly stressed. All my friends were writing their application letters and trying to get into a bunch of different schools, and I was over here I haven't done any of that. I am going the community college route. The community college that I went to literally had an instant admissions day where they just show up to the school and are like, you're in. Nice. That's all I did. I went to school for mechanical engineering technology, so more applied than regular mechanical engineering. Do we still do statics and dynamics and all that kind of stuff? Yes, but it's more I want to say the everyday type of engineering versus theoretical stuff. That is not for me. The good thing about doing a 2-year program at first was I wasn't really sure if I wanted to do the full 4-year bachelor's at the time or not. There was part of me that wanted to, and then a part of me that didn't want my parents to have to pay for schooling. So I was like, well, the first 2 years I have under a, what's it called? It's not a grant. Scholarship. So all I had to pay for was books and lab fees, which my part-time job covered, thankfully. So my parents didn't have to pay anything out of pocket. But then I figured if I'm gonna go to 4-year school, then I'm gonna have to take out a loan, or they would probably try and help, and that was very stressful for me. So the 2-year degree worked because at the end of 2 years you get a degree. It's not like where you go to a 4-year school. If you do 2 years and then you like drop out halfway through, you're not going to end up with a degree. You're just a dropout. Bonus to going to community college. Associate's programs for the win. The first semester seemed kind of like a joke almost. It's weird. Like, that's when you get all your really basic like intro classes out of the way, and I was like, wow, college was nowhere near as hard as all my teachers claimed it would be. I mean, it got worse, but the beginning was easy. The good thing is, I wasn't necessarily like a party kind of person, in case that's not obvious by like my demeanor or everything else about me. I will say, if you are looking at getting into like STEM, I guess, and like anything in STEM, as a female, it is not easy. Not that the material isn't easy, but the atmosphere. I was one of 5, I think, girls that started off like freshman year of college, and 2 years in, by the time like graduation rolled around, I was the only person left in my class that was female. That can take a toll on you mentally. If you're someone like me who suffers with imposter syndrome, like to the max, it's constantly a battle of like, do I belong here? Am I making the right choices? All these guys are so much smarter than I am. What if I'm like making a mistake? What if I can't find a job after school? It gets to be a little much sometimes. I am a sensitive bitch, but like, you also kind of have to be able to put up with some stuff. Otherwise, you're not gonna make it. Did I spend a lot of time crying? Yes. But did I also kick ass and graduate like with a job offer already before graduation? Also yes. So if you think you got what it takes, you probably do. But because of the things that came up, there was for sure no way that I was going to school full time for another 2 years. So I moved out of my parents' house. I got an apartment with one of my best friends from like middle school. Still friends to this day. And well, actually it's this apartment. This is the first ever place that I've lived in outside of like my parents' house. So yeah, moved out, got this place, had to get a job. Well, the life things that happened forced me to get a job before graduating so that I could then move out and all these things. That's a complicated story that I don't know if it's worth putting out onto the internet. Yeah, we're not going to talk about that one. Because of what happened, I was able to put myself out there. I spent many a night filling out Indeed job postings, and I managed to land one interview. I kid you not. This, where I work now, is the first place that offered me an actual interview, like in person, and the only place that actually gave me a job, like job offer after the interview. I don't know if it's because I am a woman that it was so much harder to like get places to even take me seriously, but I will say I could not have gotten a better deal because I started out as an automation technician, so level 2 tech, basically working on robots, fixing them on their day-to-day and all that kind of stuff. Mostly mechanical, a little bit of electrical, but that's wasn't my strong suit at the time. Now I'm pretty good at it, but like that took some learning. And from there, the gates opened and I have not looked back. Post-college, in my new job, I was working shift hours, which if you've never worked a shift, like shift schedule, what it is basically 12-hour days, 3 days a week, 1 week, 4 days a week the next, and then you have 3 days off, 1 week, 4 days off the next. I feel like I'm all over the place right now. Hopefully this makes sense, but yeah, so I started working, and where I started working, the engineers on my team were like, yo, if you like engineering and you ever want to help out on a project, let us know. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take that offer because I know that I'm stubborn and I will work my ass off to get where I want to be. So I worked for 6 months, basically getting to know the area, getting to know the tool sets and my day-to-day roles and responsibilities. And then after that, I was like, okay, I think I kind of know what I'm doing. I want more. And I sent them an email and I was like, yo, you remember like 6 months ago when I first started, I met you guys and you were like, hey, if you ever want a project, just like let us know. Well, I'm ready. What can I work on? And to my surprise, they were like, oh yeah, sure, we have plenty of things that you can do. Which, I mean, yeah, now that I'm in that job, it's like, oh yeah, I have so many things going on. I would love it if someone was like, yo, can I like help you with that? Please take all of my work. I start working on these side projects. Everything is going pretty good. I'm like building up relationships with the engineers on my team. Everything is cool, fine and dandy. And then big tool went down. It was one of the engineers in my job's responsibilities, like they're the tool owner for this piece of equipment, and they're like, okay, this kind of has to do with one of the projects, like one of the side projects you were working on. Do you maybe want to take the lead on fixing this? It could be a good like introduction to working with different departments and things like that for you. And I was like, you're asking me if I want to take the lead on this. I've been here for like a year and you want to put me in charge of fixing this issue? And they're like, yeah, you have drive, you got this. And plus, like, we're all behind you, like, if you need help with anything, just let us know. And I was like, I'm not gonna say no to an opportunity. So I took it. I coordinated a bunch of things, was able to coordinate the repair with both our team and then the teams we had to communicate with in order to get things like electrical shut off and things like that. And surprisingly, it actually went really well. I don't know what got into me, because I was like the most awkward, shy, had zero self-confidence type of person. And now it's like, okay, you want me to go talk to some people? I can do that. Do I still care what they think about me? Yes, but am I gonna let that stop me? No, and that's the difference. So I go through, I help fix this thing, and they're like, oh my gosh, you, a child, somewhat care about your job and like showed up and did things? That's amazing. Do you want to do more things? And I was like, I guess. So in the span of literally like 2 weeks, I went from being a regular shift technician to the manager being like, hey, why don't you try out an engineering rotation for a couple of months? See how you like it. And I was like, are you kidding me? Sir? And I was like, you're seriously gonna give me a chance to like be an engineer kind of still like as a technician? And he was like, why not? You want to do the job, right? So do the job. And so for like 4 months, right, because the thing happened in like October, and basically from October to the end of 2020 I got my own desk. That was like, I could have cried. There was nothing I wanted more than to have my own desk. I don't know why that was a goal, but it was. And the fact that I had a desk where I could put my little name tag on it was like the best feeling ever. So I got a desk, I got to work on some more projects, and then they were like, oh, okay, this kid, like, she's got something. Is it stubbornness? Is it stupidity? Is it just like the drive to get shit done? Maybe. I have no idea. This is where my imposter syndrome comes back into play. I have no idea why they chose me, but apparently they thought I could do it. And they were like, hey, we have this new initiative that we want to get started. You and one other person are going to lead this. How does that sound? And I was like, well, I don't really know what I'm doing, but it can't hurt to try. And so January 2021 rolls around, we start this project, and by like March, we'd saved a couple $1,000,000. I do not put that lightly. Like, million. It's still really weird to think about, like, these days. Like, that was only like a year and a half ago. Not even. A little over a year ago. And now that I think about it, I'm like, I did that? Because after we got that initiative, project, sector, whatever you want to call it, done, up and running, we were able to staff that with people. It's a whole new department basically now. I have no words. And that was just some 22-year-old kid waltzing around being like, I think I can fix things. If you think you can, why can't you? You know? After that, to me, it felt like a no-brainer. And to my now boss, I'm pretty sure to him it also felt like a no-brainer. But, you know, I hadn't been there long enough. I didn't have a 4-year degree. So he was like, I want to give you the engineering job. And I was like, shoot, that's amazing. But not everybody felt the same way. Why? I have no idea, because I literally proved myself in every single aspect that you could possibly ask for. Like, yeah, like, I don't know what more they could have asked for. I did the job. I had been doing the job for now, like, 6 months, basically, at a technician's salary. So, I mean, was I being taken advantage of? Maybe a little bit, but they wanted to give me the job. Well, the boss man wanted to give me the job. It was the higher ups that were like, no, we have protocols. Like, bitch, please. In the end, we won and I got it, but it was a pain in the ass. So here's what I want to say. I'm not going to say that 4 years of school isn't a good thing, because it is, but I will say it's not always for everyone. It wasn't for me. And honestly, I don't know if I'm gonna go back. Does my job, like, pay for school if I wanted to go back? Yes, absolutely. Actually, when I first started, I also started doing school part-time. I thought I was gonna get my bachelor's because I thought that's what I needed to become an engineer. Turns out, all I had to do was work for it. In the same amount of time that it would have taken me to do school full-time and then apply and get an engineering job, I got the job and also got 2 years worth of working experience. So I guess I'll leave you with this little piece of wisdom. Is it wisdom if it's coming from a 23-year-old? I do not know. But basically, if you have the drive to do something, do it. If you think that you can get it done, go for it. It's not going to be easy. I'm not going to tell you that it's going to be easy, but it's not impossible by any means. I thought it was going to take me 4 or 5 years to finish my degree part-time to even get a chance to be an engineer. That was so far out of what happened. I worked for a year and a half and then got promoted. Anything is possible if you want it bad enough. Plus, Not gonna lie, I also kind of did it to spite a couple people. When I was in high school, I had my AP physics teacher, hate her guts. She told me I wasn't ready to go to college, I wasn't ready for the real world, and I wasn't gonna make it as an engineer. Well, you know what? Look at me now. I not only graduated as the only female in my class, but I also am now an engineer, an automation engineer, which is just also crazy. Like, I get to work with robots every day. Not everyone gets to say that. So yeah, I am very proud about that. Have I seen her since high school? No. Am I ever gonna see her again? No. It's not like I'm gonna go out of my way to like be like, hey, look what I did. But I know it on the inside, and that fuels me every day. That, and when I started working at the place that I'm at now, I had one of my first managers literally tell me, because I told him, he's like, what are your goals? I was like, my goal is to become an engineer someday. And he's like, cool, but like slow your roll, because it's going to take you a while. And I was like, oh, so this is how it's going to be? Watch me. And once again, here I am. Am I coming off as like I think I'm all that? Probably. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be that way, but like, if you want to get something done, you need to have that kind of like, I'm all that energy on the inside at least. Don't go acting like you're on top of the world to everyone else, because you're just going to come across as like an asshole. But you need to have that on the inside, because if you don't think you can do it, you're just going to stop yourself from going for it. Am I glad I went to college? Yes. But do I think you need the whole 4 years to make it out in the world? No. And hopefully this can be, I don't know, inspirational to someone, can help someone. Maybe I sound like an idiot and you're like, whew, I'm glad I got my bachelor's because I'm not that girl. I mean, I'm not doing bad for myself, but I did run into quite a few roadblocks, so maybe don't listen to me, maybe do. It doesn't really matter. I just kind of wanted to share my story. Yeah, that's all I got. But I hope you enjoyed my ramble. I know it was a little all over the place and maybe a little hard to follow. I need to get better at like making myself an outline on what I'm going to talk about, because I have like, yes, I wrote things down. But then, if I stare at the things, I'll be looking down, basically just reading off a page. And if I don't write anything, then I have absolutely no idea what to talk about. My brain just goes blank. So, I'm still working on that. We'll get there eventually. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I'm gonna shut myself up before I just keep rambling. If you liked it, hit that like button and subscribe to my channel, because why not? I'll see you guys next week. Bye!